Unafraid Show, Reister or Wrong. It's your boy, George Reister here. We took a little break, but we are back and we are as unafraid as ever. Got a couple great things up for you guys today. First of which, the NCAA March Madness has been absolutely fantastic. I'm going to tell you what the greatest upset of the weekend was, and it's not number 16 beating number 1. And also, Sister Jean, who is with Loyola Chicago. We got some news about her, about the 89-year-old lady who some people are accusing of witchcraft. We got news about her. Tyronn Lue has taken an indefinite leave of absence from the Cavaliers. Does this impact their title hopes? And what's really going on with Tyronn Lue? I got the answer for you there. NFL free agency is in full swing, and it's outrageous that Colin Kaepernick is still unemployed. But the question is, we're going to spin it forward. What happens if he does sign in free agency? Do you think that he should kneel? Do you think he would kneel? And would that be okay to put in his contract that he can't kneel? You guys, please make sure you swipe up, share the feed, like the feed, continue the conversation. And also Martina Navratilova versus John McEnroe. This is a gender pay issue, and I'm going to tell you why Navratilova is dead wrong here. She's paid $15,000. McEnroe's paid $150,000. She's blaming gender bias. I'm going to tell you what it really is. You guys, please make sure you swipe up, share the feed, like the feed, continue the conversation, and tell a friend about the Unafraid Show, because this is where we are truly unafraid. We are not sheep. We don't just listen to whatever people tell us, man. We think independently for ourselves. That's what the Unafraiders are about. That's what we do here. So first of all, we're going to get to March Madness. March Madness was absolutely fantastic this weekend. Obviously, one of the biggest stories of the weekend was UMBC, which I had to look up. I was like, what the hell is UMBC? I mean, because who really pays attention to the 16 seeds? Nobody. Nobody pays attention to them. Not too many people know where Radford is, what UMBC stood for. Everybody knows where Penn is because they assume it's in Pennsylvania. And then Texas Southern. Yeah, it's in Texas and it's in the South. But where is it really? That's the biggest question. So all these 1 seeds go down. Everybody say, oh my God, it's the biggest upsets of all time and this and that. But if you watch Virginia play, like, you knew that this could happen. They don't score points. Virginia does not score points. They're like offensively inept. They're like UCLA when Ben Holland was the coach, when they had Kevin Love, Russell Westbrook. It can only get like 55 points a game. Like, how the hell do you do that? Like, those two guys can get you 55 points alone. So what makes you, so it's coaching that's holding them guys down. And I'm going to tell you, Virginia, they do not look like a group of athletes. I'm going to tell you this. They look like big, long, lurch-looking dudes. Like Adams family can dribble the ball, Hoosiers basketball, fundamental. And I know people are screaming right now, oh, Hoosiers basketball, he means white. No, it doesn't mean white. We're just playing with a bunch of guys who aren't very athletic. That's what Virginia's playing. And they eventually ran into somebody who was willing to get dirty, get on the floor, be scrappy all game, and beat them. That's what it happened. They weren't some magical team. And that's why I say that game against UMBC was by far not the biggest upset of the weekend. It was not. Like, it was a big game. It was a great game. I mean, it was fun to see the kids play well and all that. But the biggest upset, and no, it wasn't Nevada coming back from down 22 against Cincinnati. The biggest upset was Loyola Chicago beating Miami and then coming back and beating Tennessee. Because people thought that Tennessee was going to be the dark horse, Cinderella, win the tournament. Yeah, Loyola Chicago said, slow down. And the person at Loyola Chicago, their #1 fan, is 98-year-old Sister Jean, who is their team chaplain. Sister Jean is 98 years old. She's in a wheelchair. But ordinarily, she's not in a wheelchair. Like, this is an able-bodied old lady walking around. And that's what she does on a daily basis. But she's in the tournament. I mean, how picture perfect is this? She so happened to get hurt. She's got to go around in a wheelchair, so she's playing hurt, doing her chaplain job hurt. Her team is winning last-second shots, fortuitous bounce against Tennessee to win the game. That's Sister Jean right there. And I saw a tweet that I thought was hilarious. Somebody said, oh, Sister Jean sold her soul to the devil for Loyola Chicago to win. I'm sitting there like, well, what did Sister Jean do? What were those prayers? Because she always talks about her prayers. The team prayed and prayed, and then God intervened. Listen, I'm a Christian man, but I don't believe that God really cares who wins and loses a lot of the time. I'm gonna be honest. But here's the thing. I got a crucial question for you guys. Send in your comments, unafraidshow.com. Send them in here as well. Would Sister Jean, she's 98 years old. She's clearly a huge Loyola Chicago fan, been there a long time. Would she be willing to let Loyola Chicago as an 11 seed win the NCAA tournament, but she had to, on the Monday night when they play in the finals, would she be willing to not walk out of the arena alive? That's a question. Would she be willing to lay down her life? That way Loyola Chicago could be the ultimate Cinderella story. Like the greatest Cinderella story that's ever happened. Because the lowest seed to ever win a championship is an 8 seed. It's an 8 seed to win a championship in 1985 with Villanova when they beat Georgetown. They shot 67%. Incredible. So the question is, would she be willing to lay down her life for that? And I mean, that's a real question for me. Because there are some people who are really, really committed. Because you look at the Philadelphia Eagles fans. There are so many Philadelphia Eagles fans who would have been willing to die to see. I mean, if they could go to the Super Bowl, watch the Philadelphia Eagles win. They're 89, 95 years old. And they're like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I would give it up for that. And then that got me to thinking about one person that I've met in particular that I know is Phil Knight. Any Oregon fans know about Phil Knight? Would Phil Knight, as much as he loves Oregon, and he said he wants to do anything possible legally to make Oregon win a national championship in football before he dies. He said he'll do anything for that to happen. So the question is, Phil Knight's 80 years old. So if on his 95th, 98th birthday, would Phil Knight be willing to say, you know what? At the beginning of the season, the way he's got 4 months to prepare, you know what? I will give up my life so Oregon can win a national championship in football. Would he do it? I mean, this is how sports transcends our life, because people are willing to sacrifice and give up all sorts of things for their sport. And I wonder if Sister Jean for Loyola Chicago is going to be willing to do that. Would she be willing to give up that life? Because she's called on all her prayer warriors and everybody else to get Loyola Chicago, who had the biggest upset of the weekend. Not UMBC over Virginia, because Virginia was overrated already. They can't score points. That was the biggest upset of the weekend. And another interesting tidbit from the tournament, though, is the Kentucky Wildcats. Because Coach Calipari gets a bad rap. He's complaining about his draw with Virginia, Arizona in the same bracket, Cincinnati. But the reality is, left in his bracket, in the Sweet 16, there's no 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, or 10 left in his. He's playing against a 9, a 11, and a 7. If that ain't the setup to get to the Final Four, I don't know what is. So Coach Cal should be extremely happy about this fortuitous bounce that he's gotten with Virginia and Arizona sucking in the college football. I'm sorry, in the March Madness tournament, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. And people are calling, oh, this is the greatest. These are the biggest upsets of all time. But no, they're not. They're not the biggest upsets of all time, because they're 4% of the time. All 4 seeds, only 4% of the time have all 4 1 seeds made it to the Final Four. 4% of the time, and it hasn't happened in forever because there's more parity in college sports. Anybody can beat everybody. Anybody can beat everybody. And that's where I get to people complaining about the NCAA tournament. People say, oh, well, it's not anybody can. I'm tired of seeing these little guys in the tournament, the Texas Southerns, the UMBC. They just mess up the tournament to see who's best. Well, how about let's look at ratings? Because the highest rated NCAA tournament Final Four games are not with traditional blue bloods. They're not. They're like when Butler plays Duke. They are when Villanova plays Georgetown. They are when these are the great games that people want to see. VCU in 2011 making it to the Final Four because people want to root for the little guy. This has to do with the polarizing figure, especially if they play somebody who's hated like a Duke. People love Duke, who like Duke, but the overwhelming majority of people hate Duke. They would rather see Duke lose. And that's the same way the Duke is like the Patriots in football. Everybody wants to see them lose. And that's why when Butler was in a championship, people were like, oh my God, finally, I'm here to see history. Same way, every time Floyd Mayweather fights, that's why people tune in. They want to see history. They can't believe what they saw. They can't believe or they're not willing to miss out on what they saw. Same thing, man. That's why people root for the little guy. And that's why I'm on the Loyola Chicago bandwagon. I'm like, yes, tie me in. I'm in with Sister Jean and her wheelchair because that's great optics. That she's in a wheelchair. She's 98 years old, but they don't tell you that she's fully able-bodied, which is like the amazing part about it. She just got hurt. Next up, it is NFL free agency season. NFL free agency season. Everybody's getting paid. You got quarterbacks getting paid. Kirk Cousins. You got Sam Bradford getting paid again, knowing that he's going to get hurt. You got everybody getting paid. But there is a quarterback who's played 69 games in his career. 60 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. So he takes great care of the football. He's only 30 years old and been to a Super Bowl, and he's unemployed. His name is Colin Kaepernick. And where I wanted to go with this is not just the fact that Colin Kaepernick should have a job, because the best football player should have a job. But my question is when you have owners like Bob McNair who are colluding against Colin Kaepernick and anybody who was involved with the protests, they're not doing what's best for their franchise. They're not doing what's best for their fans. They're not doing what's best they're doing what they are reacting to, quote unquote, public sentiment. And what we've learned over the last few years is don't react immediately to public sentiment or to some social media outrage. Because the reality is this: there will be something new to be outraged about tomorrow. There'll be something new to be outraged about. If it's not today, there will be something new to be outraged about tomorrow. It never, ever fails. It never fails. So if you are an owner, you don't have to react to people saying that they're going to boycott. And I will let people in on a huge secret that people want to ignore, that they're not paying attention to, is that there are people who are obviously protesting. The people who are making the most noise are protesting, saying, we don't want politics in our sports. Okay, yeah, whatever. You love politics. You just don't like the cause. There's a whole lot of people who I know who are in my social circle who have told me we are not watching football because Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job. So you have people on one side who say, I hate the protest, I hate politics, blah, blah, blah. Then there are people who are saying, I hate the fact that Colin Kaepernick is being blackballed, so I'm not watching. So now you've pissed off two groups of people. Two different demographics. You've pissed them both off. And here's what I know in life. You can't piss off everybody. You got to pick one or the other. So you got to make one group happy. You can't make both groups happy. And what I'll tell you about this, one thing that owners are completely missing with this whole Colin Kaepernick situation is this. Last year, Colin Kaepernick had one of the top 10 selling NFL jerseys. Like, do you understand this? One of the top 10 selling NFL jerseys. And he was not even on a team. So guess what would happen if a team signed Colin Kaepernick? They would have a whole new slew of fans. They would have a whole new slew of fans. Owners weren't thinking about that. So while they thought they might, quote unquote, lose money, they'll get a whole new demographic as well. Another thing, though, that is going to ruffle a little bit of feathers and people may get a little bit upset about is Martina Navratilova. She is a Hall of Fame tennis player. She's amazing at tennis. She's got 17 Grand Slams, I think, versus John McEnroe, who only has 7. And John McEnroe, they both call Wimbledon for ESPN, CBS, whatever network they call it. Yeah, I think for ESPN. John McEnroe is paid 15,000 pounds. I'm sorry, 15,000 euros. And Martina Navratilova is paid 15,000 euros. And John McEnroe, for the same exact job, is paid 150,000 euros. And she's pissed off about this. Martina Navratilova is pissed off about this. And here's why she's pissed off. Because she's saying that this is a gender disparity. This is a gender gap issue. And they just don't pay men the same way that they pay women. I'm telling you this. This has nothing at all to do with sex. It has nothing to do with sex. It's got nothing to do with gender. It's got nothing to do with none of that. It has to do with the fact that Martina Navratilova, for the U.S. public, she is not the best at her job. Mary Carrillo is the best at calling tennis. And then McEnroe is better. This is not a case where they're like this is like somebody saying that a WNBA star should be paid the same as an NBA star. They shouldn't, because they generate different revenue. John McEnroe is a more polarizing figure. People want to watch him. He was controversial when he was playing. All of that. People love John McEnroe. People don't want to see Navratilova. They want to see Mary Carrillo. They want to see other people. So when people try to make it into something that it's not, a little bit of a problem. What else we got up today is Tyronn Lue. You guys, please make sure you swipe up, share the feed, continue the conversation. This Unafraid show. Please, yes, share the feed with everybody. We got, so the other thing that we have up is Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue, coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, is taking an indefinite leave of absence. And here's what I'm going to tell you about this, about Tyronn Lue taking this indefinite leave of absence. He said he's having shortness of breath, having like heart palpitations. He can't sleep, all of this. And that got me to thinking. All these armchair Monday morning, sports coaches, all these people that think that they know everything about sports. You know what? Try taking Tyronn Lue's job. Try coaching LeBron. See how stressful that is. See how stressful coaching LeBron is. When you got a whole bunch of dudes, you know you might get fired. You know all of this. And you try coaching LeBron James. Let me see how much that stresses you out. Because that'll stress you out to the max. Coaching LeBron James will stress you out to the max. Because the expectations are unrealistic. And I'm a person who's been extremely critical of Tyronn Lue in terms of his coaching acumen. I don't think he is the best coach in the entire world. I think that, I think that you could basically put anybody in his position and the Cavaliers would still be extremely successful. That's what I think. I think the Cavaliers would still be extremely successful without Tyronn Lue. That you could literally plug and play anybody in his position, and the Cavaliers will be extremely successful. So here is the thing about that. When I was playing in the NFL, I had a very crazy situation. I was one night before a game. I don't remember what season it was. I was having like shortness of breath. I thought I was going to die. I was going through a bunch of personal stuff. I was going through a bunch of personal issues. My son's mom was pregnant the first time, and I was just stressed out. I was going crazy. And the night before the game, I think I'm dying. I call our trainer upstairs. I'm like, yo, I can't breathe. I can't go to sleep. I think I'm dying, whatever it is. You know what they did? They gave me an inhaler. They told me, you know what, George, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Stayed up there with me the whole night. Played the game. Then they sent me to the hospital after. And when I got to the hospital, they did stress tests, worked me up, all of this stuff, just like they did Tyronn Lue. And they're like, we don't know what's causing it. And then they finally came back and was like, we know what's causing it. It's your brain, bro. You're having panic or anxiety attacks. You got too much stress going on. You got to figure out how to manage this in a better way. So I fully understand what Tyronn Lue's going through. I hope the man gets healthy as quickly as possible, because nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see him going through that. But, you know, such is life. You know, you get paid the big bucks. You got to show up. You got to deal with some tough stuff sometimes. Last thing up, Rory McIlroy. Rory McIlroy is crying. He is crying, and I don't understand why. He's talking, he looks like this picture. He looks like a giant douche, talking about golf fans that they need to stop serving alcohol because they're getting a little too unruly and they're starting to bother him. Like it's just not nice, the things they're saying. What? Are you kidding me? Like, golf is a sport to where, like, it's the only sport where fans don't heckle everybody. Fans heckled Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods dealt with it. People yelling in his backswing, all of this stuff. He dealt with it. Rory has a couple unruly fans, and now he wants to take his ball and go home. They should stop serving beer at golf matches. They're getting too unruly. It'd be different if there were streakers every week. There's not. You got a couple dudes yelling every now and then, get in the hole! Or coughing or something like that. Dude, be a pro. In any other sport, you would literally, every other sport has to deal with hecklers. You play football, the fans heckle you, the people you're playing against heckle you. In golf, your opponents don't heckle you. They just don't even talk to you sometimes. The fans occasionally say something. And they're not even yelling out the same stuff that they do at soccer games, at baseball games, at football games, at any of that. But you're crying Rory McIlroy. I'm not with it, bro. I'm not with it. You got to grow up, put on your big boy pants. You know, stop running around like that. Also, yeah, true. It did not bother Happy Gilmore. He just went out there and played the game. Because this is sports. You have to be more mentally tough than being bothered by some fans making some noise. You got to be more mentally tough than that. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand why this man came out and said this. He looks like a giant baby. Looks like a giant baby. Like there's no reason why on earth he should do that. I wanted to touch on the Colin Kaepernick back in the NFL real quick again. So I finished talking about it already, that he's out of work. He should be on a team. When you have the likes of Ryan Mallett signing, you have all these other backup quarterbacks who are trash, and you leave Colin Kaepernick out of the league. That's a problem for me. But my question is the reason why nobody's talking about this is not because people don't care. You won't hear them talking about it on ESPN. You won't hear them talking about it on FS1 about why Colin Kaepernick is unemployed during NFL free agency. Because the NFL wants those networks silent. They want you silent on it. Because ESPN has a strained relationship with the NFL. Everybody knows it. It's public. Strained relationship. They gave Fox the NFL draft. They gave Fox the NFL draft. So that's a problem. Yes, we will go over the brackets again. Why on earth would somebody just said a comment? They said Colin Kaepernick needs to cut his hair. Why? Why should he have to cut his hair? Nobody asked Clay Matthews to cut his hair. Nobody asked the lineman from the Eagles who dressed up like a genie to cut his hair. No, man, this is a man. Why should he have to cut his hair? This is a man who gave away $1 million of his own money. Is a civic hero. I mean, let's really think about that. It's not the actual fact that he bothers people. It's the cause that he's bringing up that bothers people. Got to remember that. But the question is, should Colin Kaepernick kneel if he comes back? Should he kneel? If he doesn't kneel, is he a sellout then? Is he a sellout for the check? Did he sell out to the man? That's the question. Because I don't think that I would not have any grievance. I would not have any problem with Colin Kaepernick if he came back and he did not take a knee anymore. Because he's already bore the cross. Like, he's already established himself. He did what he said he was going to do. He stood up for what he believed in. And he took the punishment. And then he came back. Wouldn't have any problem with that. I would have a problem if he were silent about issues. I would have a problem if he, I mean, but we've seen players on the Eagles. We saw Chris, without Chris Long. We saw it with Chris Long and Malcolm Jenkins. Both won the Super Bowl this year after being outspoken about kneeling. And about getting players back on the field, owners and players getting back in the same boat. Like, they won the Super Bowl, so it's shown that you can win like that. So why on earth would you eliminate a player like that from the NFL GDP? Think about that. You guys swipe up, share the feed. This is an Unafraid show. George Reister. Let me change the thing. George Reister. It just makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me how you can have an owner like the Texans owner stand up and say, you know what? I don't want any players on my team that were involved with taking a knee. Despite everybody saying that this is not about the national anthem and we love the military, we thank everybody for our service, everything. Doesn't make sense to me. Last thing up. Someone just sent in, do you think he's even going to get another shot? I don't, unfortunately. I feel like I'm hoping against hope at this point in time. I think he should get another shot. I want Colin to get another shot. But the likelihood of that fades each and every day. I mean, if the Miami Dolphins were willing to bring in Jay Cutler at $10 million to come out of the booth, this is a dude who willingly retired. But you threw $10 million at him, so he was like, yeah, I need that though. I need that though. I don't care what happens this year. I need that. Just don't let him break me in half. Last thing we got up today is March Madness. I've said it time and time again. March Madness is the best sporting event in the country. The best sporting event, and it's not even close. It's not even close. March Madness is the best sporting event. It's not even close. Because you have the NBA playoffs, which are 2 months long, It ain't but about 3-4 teams that can really win it. You're kind of waiting 2-3 days in between games after the first rounds. It kind of drags on. But in the NCAA tournament, the best part about it is anybody can win. Not anybody on the court, but anybody can win their bracket. Anybody can win their pool. Anybody. Because it doesn't matter how much you know about college basketball. You could be the sage of all sages. Unless you had like an almanac from like Biff in Back to the Future, there's no way that you could predict Arizona, Virginia, and all the rest of these teams losing in the south part of the bracket. There's no way that you could predict that. And with that, like, it leaves everybody options to get in a pool, get in a tournament. Because in my pool, in the Unafraid Show pool, guess who's winning? Guess who's winning? A woman who probably hasn't watched more than 5 hours of college basketball all year. My mom. My mother is winning the Unafraid Show pool. My mom, of all people, my mama just know, I think this. My mom's a sports junkie. She's a sports fan, all this, but she doesn't watch college basketball on a regular basis. She probably knows more about women's basketball than she knows about the particular teams in men's basketball. But she's winning, and that's why March Madness is the greatest sporting event in this country. Thank you guys for joining me today. Unafraid Show, Reister or Wrong. George Reister here, your man, where we are independent thinkers. We get it out. And please make sure you like up, share the feed, leave a comment, and email your questions to unafraidshow@gmail.com. Peace out. Catch you guys tomorrow.